Salutations everyone, this is Razor bringing you guys another Overwatch video where today we're going to be talking about the most underrated character in Overwatch, and yes, that is Zenyatta. I know you may be thinking, but Jonak, right? Jonak, MVP of the Overwatch League probably, right? You know, Overwatch League, they always have a Zenyatta. Zenyatta Mercy is by far the most common duo support that there is in the game. But if you've ever played Overwatch, on, you know, the bottom 99% of matches, you'll notice there's very little Zenyatta. There's also very little D.Va, she's like has a 3 pick percent rate across all the, you know, all the levels, but we're not going to talk about D.Va today. Zenyatta's pick rate is incredibly small. It's so small for how good he is and how much he's used in Masters and Grandmasters and of course, you know, Overwatch League and the pros. Why is there this big disparity? And I'm not here to tell you that it's an easy answer. There really isn't an easy answer because, well, there's a lot of things that the general population of Overwatch across the majority of levels do that don't tend to make any sense, like not always have a Mercy in the vast majority of situations. She's the best character in the game. You need to have one. But, and of course, another one is that people don't tend to utilize Zenyatta. It's a popular pick. People think Brigitta's really good, therefore they play her, even though she's not going to be the best in the vast majority of situations. She can be, and I even use her on to finish off the defense here on this game, which I won't be showing because it's all about Zenyatta today. And, you know, people have fun with Ana. Lucio has a really nice toolkit. He's kind of hard to hunt down. And, you know, people, of course, are always going to love playing Mercy. And definitely have no qualms against people picking Mercy. It's never a bad pick in any situation, honestly. You know, of course, in matchmaking, there may be certain circumstances where you can take advantage of people playing improperly and just kick ass with the Moira. But I think a lot of this tends to be the problem that people don't tend to play healers as a whole properly, but of course Zenyatta properly. Zenyatta is one of my favorite characters to play in the game, and he's definitely one of my best. I would say my two best characters are Zenyatta and D.Va. And one of the reasons I kick so much ass with Zenyatta is because I know how to play him properly. Zenyatta is not going to be one there that's in the brawl like Lucio or Brigitte. And he's not going to be able to just fly all over the place and he can do massive healing like Mercy is. Unless you get multiple big money transcendences, he's just not going to get a ton of healing, so people are going to much rather have a Mercy or a Moira or a Brigitte on their team. Zenyatta doesn't get that much love just because he can't output so much healing. Luckily, this team, we were running Dive, we had Winston, we had D.Va, we had Tracer, we had Genji, and we had Zen, and we had a Mercy. And this was a good map to do it on, and it's very easy to catch people off guard because Dive is a very rare thing that you see in the bottom 98% of matchmaking, you know, the bottom tiers, diamond and below, especially executed properly, which is not something that you see very often. Save my Transcendence there for their Dragon Hammer combo that they get absolutely nothing out of. Obviously, those big money reses are one of the big highlights that Zen brings to the table. Of course, another one is something that people don't tend to notice is the sheer amount of damage that this guy puts out. I know we've all seen videos of Boombox, we've all seen Shaz go off, we've all seen, you know, the Overwatch commentators drool over everything Jonak does, especially when it comes to all the comparisons of, like, you know, Jonak out-damaged anybody on the team and the enemy team, and they were just swamping him, and he's doing like 60% of the enemy damage, even though the Tracer's popping off or whatever. It's because of the Discord orb, obviously hugely underrated in what it does. There's a reason, guys, why Zenyatta is used so much by the top players of the world, whether it be in matchmaking or in OWL, and that's because of what the Harmony orb and what the Discord orb bring to the table. They take certain characters, certain targets, and certain situations that are so difficult into fairly easy tasks. especially if you have the dive set up. Discord something at the beginning of a fight, they get jumped on and they're shredded easily, pretty much no matter who they are, or even if they're not out of position, even if they're playing correctly, the Discord orb is just enough in order to bypass any sort of quick thinking or quick healing or perfect cooldown management by the enemy team. If you get the coordination on obviously the callouts, as a Zenyatta player, you need to be calling out your Discords. That's something that I've seen sometimes with friendly Zenyatas, and obviously with myself, when I'm calling out Discords, I've had so many times where my teammates were like, man, this Zenyatta was really good call in the Discords. It's not something that people are used to, right? And you don't have to be the best shot caller in the world, but if you're just calling out your Discords, you're gonna get so much benefit. You think it would be obvious because everyone can see who's Discord, then they should just shoot them. If you tell them, the teammates are bound to be much more cooperative. And there I get my first death there. Could have popped the Transcendence to fight against theirs, but they were pushing us back. There was no money in that Transcendence. I wasn't going to get a ton of value out of it. The Mercy gets the res on the other healer, which is something that you never see in matchmaking very often, that your team allows the Mercy to be able to do. But as you saw, the D.Va was defense matrixing her, and the Mei wasn't able to do enough damage in order to freeze or kill the Mercy before she got the res off. And it was a big res because they didn't push up into our spawn. Yes, we did lose that fight, and we're kind of waiting for the rest of the team to gather up here. But it's something that Zenyatta can do is take care of the other healer on the team. Obviously the Mercy died there. I was trying to, look out for that Mei, and we get our D.Va D-Mech, so everyone's not playing optimally, but we're mitigating a lot of big potential risks. And I take out their Mercy, throw out my Transcendence to negate yet another ultimate that allows the Winston to dive in. We're going to be able to take out the Mei. Had to help out the Genji there. He made the mistake of trying to ult a Mei, and he got frozen, but I took care of the Mei for him. And oh, you know how terrible it is to kill a Winston when he's raging? Not that much when he's getting discorded. That's a problem in every other situation where, man, no matter what you do to a Winston, even if you CC him once, he's gonna be able to go through pretty much his entire ult. But if he gets discorded, and obviously, if he gets like anti-nated or, double CC'd or something like that, you're gonna get paid huge dividends. But that's a lot of people not playing Zenyatta right, and a lot of that has to do is everyone always wants to be in the brawl. I mentioned this in the Brigitte video a while back, why people value Brigitte so much, why people think that she's so good is because in matchmaking, everything is about brawling at the point because people are too stupid to do anything else. Zenyatta isn't that good in the brawl. Zenyatta needs to be in the backline. It's called the backline for a reason, because that's typically where the healers are going to be. It's the safe spot to be. I can throw out my Harmony Orbs on any target because I can see the entire field. I can shot call as well as throw out my Discords. The enemy Zenyatta is trancing, so I'm getting out of position so I'm not noticed, so that we can focus down the D.Va when the Transcendence is used up. Reaper comes in, he ain't shit. I ain't letting him two-tapping anybody. I'm popping my Transcendence so we can get this final foot and a half out of here, take care of that Mercy. She's not rezzing anybody. The Discord makes a huge difference, and I know that's such an obvious thing to say, but people don't tend to see it as a really good thing until someone on their team kind of just carries them, holds their hand through their match with the Discord orb, and all of a sudden things are dying. The damage that Zenyatta can pump out on his own, even without the Discord orb as a factor, is also a huge thing that people don't tend to do. Zenyatta is usually one of the main targets for a Mercy to damage boost in Overwatch League, especially if you have a really good one. But in matchmaking, they're pocketing the Pharah, or probably the Soldier, maybe the McCree. But a Zenyatta is going to out damage a McCree 1 million out of 1 million times, because guess what? None of y'all are Pine, and unless you're hitting money flashbangs on tracers that are coming in, Zenyatta is just going to be a better pick for damage. He doesn't have a role, but he basically has the same mobility as McCree. He doesn't have to worry about reloading nearly as often. He has more of burst damage potential than Fan the Hammer with his alternate fire. And yes, he is not hit scan, he is projectile, and you have to lead all of your shots. I've had, you know, quite a bit of practice with it, and it kind of comes naturally to me. It's not that big of an issue. It's not like as big of a deal as like far rockets or you know, a slower projectile like that. But obviously, with the amount of damage that a volley can do into a diva that's discorded or has no matrix, or in the back, or a Reinhardt who has his shield broken, or a Roadhog, even if he is taking a breather, just the amount of damage that Zenyatta can do will outdo almost any DPS, or at least half of the DPS players on your team consistently. It's a thing that happens all the time. I see it. I'm usually getting silver, sometimes gold damage, almost always at least silver eliminations, because you know, people tend to focus too much on, oh, I have gold damage, that doesn't mean anything. It's the eliminations that matter, if anything, in that equation, because things need to die. If you're doing damage, you might as well just be feeding the Mercy ult, or, you know, what other healers are out there, Roadhog ult even. And find myself in a precarious situation here with the Reinhardt, where I'm outnumbered, the rest of my team has died, I can't really get to them, and then they can finally get to me. They invested a lot of resources into getting a healer, and then that gets rezzed. Once again, Mercy rezzing another healer, big value out of that, and I protect my Mercy like she protects me. Discord that Reaper, he ain't shit. I'm always constantly shifting around the focus of who needs to be shot with my Discord orbs and who needs the heals. Typically a tank, if a DPS is in trouble, that's going to be on the Zenyatta to heal them more so than the Mercy in most circumstances, just because I can throw that orb instantly. It doesn't put me or anyone else in danger. And the Mercy can always jump on top of that healing as we full hold here on Junkertown because of the placement. We don't have like the greatest comp in the world, but it's a workable comp, and I'm playing Zenyatta perfectly in the instance that I need to. Soldier tries to come at me, I'm gonna do way more damage than your matchmaking Widow or your matchmaking McCree or your matchmaking Genji is ever gonna do, because I don't know, I guess I know how to aim. At the very least, I know how to position myself, and that's one of the things that you very rarely see, and that's why you very seldom see a lot of consistent value out of Zenyatta's, because everyone's brawling on the point, right? Everyone's brawling on the point, people are picking other heroes, but Zen, if he's in, once again, the back line, like most healers need to be, it's one of the big reasons why people play Ana so terribly, because they play her like a DPS. They should play her like Mercy and just be constantly healing people instead of seeing who they can shoot with their gun, right? But when it comes to Zenyatta, it's just such an easy plug and play style with him, because you throw the Harmony Orb, you throw the Discord Orb, and then you can just kind of position yourself and get to work. You don't have to worry nearly as much as other healers are about you know, getting to their teammate that needs healing. Obviously, sometimes you're gonna have to really whip your head around to find the last remaining person on your team so that you can heal them and hopefully stall a point longer or what have you. I'm always constantly looking in the back for any flankers, as you saw on the Dorado game, as well as the defense of this game. I was not letting anybody come behind us, and that's one of the things that Zen affords, especially with the power of the Discord, because it doesn't matter if it's a Hanzo or a Genji or a Soldier, or, you know, even sometimes a Tracer. Obviously she can get out of dodge, but at the very least you can nil that that fight to where she can't get a pick. But if it's anybody else and you get the Discord on him and hopefully a teammate turns around, even if you don't have to worry like a Mercy has to worry, where she has to fly away. You don't have to worry like an Ana, who either needs to nade herself or sleep dart the target and get out of dodge. Zen just needs to hit a couple of shots on any sort of flanker, any sort of squishy, and he'll get the job done because of the sheer amount of damage he can do all by himself. He's a bit more self-sustaining than some of the other popular picks out there of characters that quote-unquote heal more. But if everybody's dying, if you're not peeling for your Mercy, if you're not, you know, giving the Genji who keeps needing healing, then you're not going to be able to get the value out of your team. And even if they're not picking the right picks, if you're getting the value out of those picks, you know, if everybody's doing the wrong thing at the same time, then you're just going to be able to win more games than you lose. Obviously, this requires your tanks to be able to take the space that you and your DPSs are giving them. which isn't going to happen all the time, but when you do, it's like music, baby, and Zenyatta is going to get a higher guild participation on average than almost any other character in the game every single time on most maps, not all of them, obviously, but people keep picking McCree and Soldier, thinking that that's the best way to get kills, but honestly, Zenyatta is going to be better at doing that in matchmaking, and he can also heal, he can peel, and he's got that transcendence, which, let's just face it, gazing into that iris is a pretty bright sight, especially when you keep racking up the wins, and that's why people need to start paying attention to the guy who keeps carrying a lot of fights on a lot of teams at the higher levels of play, because he's a really good character and you just don't see him in matchmaking. So that's why I feel Zenyatta is the most underrated character in the game in matchmaking, which is what most of us are playing, because I've had instances so many times when I get to pick Zenyatta and the tanks are doing what they should be doing, where it's an easy win because I know what I'm doing.